How's it going? It's Rocky. Welcome to the Diaries of an Average Feature Trader, where I go through my experience trading for the day. Basically, I do a quick 5-minute live recap 15 minutes after the US market close. Right now, it's 1:15 in the Pacific Coast. It's Wednesday, June 21st. And I want to go through my one trade today. It was a trade where I really just got lucky and I wanted to go through it. Again, my goal of this content is to really go through my thoughts on the news of what occurred and also one of my trades for today. So just going to the news, today Jerome Powell was testifying in Congress. So I knew that the market was going to be volatile because anytime Jerome Powell is out there talking about anything he says is pretty much every word for word. People are listening because it affects, really, he just moves the market essentially. Plain and simple, Jerome Powell moves the market. And a good way to know when things like this occur, I try to look at the Market Watch. It has an economic calendar here for the US. So I was able to see here that 10 a.m. Eastern time, he was going to speak for the House. And something important is tomorrow, he's also going to testify in the Senate, so expect another crazy market or volatile market. And also there's other Fed presidents that are speaking. Atlanta Fed spoke today, and tomorrow you'll have Cleveland Fed and the Richmond Fed speaking, and on Friday basically the St. Louis Fed is speaking. So that's why this week expect a lot of volatility. Not happy, but essentially for this week it was another red week for me. It was basically negative $1,636.85, and I'm not really too panicked about that because most of that is from the MYM, which is swinging long until September of this year, September 15th. That's when the existing contract expires. What I really focus on every day is being able to get my intraday on the YM to make profit out of that, and that one I was able to get out with $480, which is great. And I'll go through that trade on how we came up with that one. So back on Thinkorswim, which is what I use to trade. The left is time-based, the right is tick-based, if it's your first time seeing this. So on the time-based chart, basically from the beginning of this yellow line, which I draw every day, this is when the market opened yesterday, 3 p.m. Pacific time. And on the tick-based indicator, that's also what it looks like. So just wanted to point out here, it's easier to see on the tick-based. A lot of dip that occurred around here, so you can see just to have an idea of where the volume is when you're trading. So when this opened at 3 p.m. it's not until around 6:30 Pacific time when the Asia market opens, and 6:30 is around this line right here, so not a lot. And essentially when Europe opens around midnight, and midnight is right here, so you can see that's not a lot of volume for the Asia market. And then from the EU till 6:30 the next morning, 6:30 occurred right here. So it was that area on what the EU is, and the rest were the US today. So it just shows you why there's a lot more volume. There's a lot more buying and selling that occurs during the US market hours, as shown by that. I just want to go through that trade that I did today. Not something I'm proud of, but essentially there's a bit of a move. Basically when Powell was speaking, I wanted to avoid that, and when he was speaking, his comments were very hawkish. So in my mind, alright, I'm gonna short this. At that point the NASDAQ was down 1.5%. The S&P 500 was down a lot too, and so was the Dow, but not as much. And a bit of a move here, and I shorted with 4 contracts at 34,247. And looking at the indicator, the reason that I did short was because we were on the oversold side on the stochastic RSI, and that's when I like to short. And on the crossover, I was seeing a bit more of a divergence. So that's why I did short with that 4 contract. And as you can see here, it was the right decision, because on the next candle I could have exited with that 4 contracts and exit with a profit of about $200. However, it's a weakness that I've been having this past few weeks that I really need to get rid of. I didn't lock in that profit, and I watched it go back up, and as it went back up, I was trying to add more, because when I trade, I don't put my full amount right away. I can short up to 8 contracts of the YM with a roughly a $40,000 account. Really, with that $40,000 account, I should only be able to trade 4 YMs, but because I have my long swing, I'm able to 2x on the hedge here. Added more here, 297, 277, and I'm gonna zoom out a bit, and you can see how that kept going up to about 34,387, and my average was let me go back a little bit. So 34,387 or so was the peak, and my average was 34,262. So I'm just gonna bring the calculator here just to show you how much underwater I was at. So basically, my average was 34,262, and it got up to about 34,387. So it's about negative 125 points. And because I have 8 contracts, where 1 contract per point, 1 point move per contract is $5. So for 2, it's $10, and then for 8, it's $40 times 40. So at one point, I was down $5,000. So that's really a ridiculous way to be underwater. It's not a comfortable way of trading, and I don't like to trade that way. However, my main thesis with what Jerome Powell was saying, with a lot more rates that are going to occur later, and of course how everything was overbought, that's the main reason why I kept my short. And thankfully we were able to cover at 34,250. So really, that was just 12 points. So 12 points for $480. Most will say that is not worth it to have that type of mental stress, being down $5,000 just to get out with a positive $480. And yes, I agree with you. It is a weakness that has occurred or started the past few weeks that I'm trying to get rid of. But hopefully we can get back properly next week, trade a little better. Sorry, not next week, tomorrow. So tomorrow, as I mentioned, Powell is again speaking to the Senate. It was a Congress today, and which means a lot of volatility, and I'll be a bit more in control tomorrow, hopefully, and we can go back to green for the week. So that is my content on the recap that I try to do. We're a little over time. I try to do this in less than 5 minutes. Give me some feedback if these are helpful or not. And then if I see a bit more increase in the views and see more interest on it, I'll make sure to try and do it daily and just go through the trading recap. See if it's something you can relate to or something that gives value to you. All right, I'll see you in the next one. Have a good one.